What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Zoids vs. III! So, we are moving on to the third tournament, which is the Lucid Saga Tournament, as it's called. All these characters were in the battle story for the previous Zoids vs. games, as well, including Battle Legends, the previous Let's Play. But they all came from the Zoids Saga series, Zoids Saga and Zoids Legacy, and there's also a third one that's probably Japan only. There was a Fusers one. They spanned across the Game Boy Advance and the DS, and I've not played them, although I plan to sometime. So the characters we chose for this are Zan and Tita, who we played as quite a bit in the previous game. And our first opponents are against Koki and Reiner, and their, yes, Koki, and their respective Proto-Saber and Zabat. So we bought quite a few new Zoids. Some of which were viewer requests, so I'll be pointing out those when we use them. The first one here, I'm going to be demonstrating my first ever flying Zoid, my personal favorite flying Zoid, the Storm Sorter. We got a upgraded Storm Sorter here that has this really awesome dark gray finish to it, which looks really cool. So we're going to be able to engage the Zabat without having to worry about those annoying torpedoes that it has that dig underground that are impossible to dodge. The thing that nearly made the end of us there in the New Century Zero tournament. So, the controls for the Flying Zoids, luckily this is going to be kind of a long fight so I can explain this. The controls for the Flying Zoids are kind of difficult to get used to because the C-stick allows you to move, bank up and down. And then using it left to right allows you to do, dodge rolls, kind of like you would do hopping from left to right on the ground with a ground Zoid. The problem is when you're locked onto a Zoid like this, your altitude kind of just does whatever it wants, so sometimes you have to disengage your target in order to get your altitude where you want it. They're also very difficult to hit, which means that this fight is kind of unfair for the ground Zoids. And the Storm Sorter has only two default weapons. It has a bomb drop, and it has the Wing Saber. And I actually had to buy two additional weapons for it. I had to buy the Vulcan unit and the missiles on the back. The Vulcan unit is pretty powerful for a rapid-fire weapon. We'll be using that to make strafing runs on the Proto-Saber. But I'm going to try to intercept the Zabat there. I managed to take it down finally. And my opponent is using a new Zoid as well. I'll talk about that one here in a bit. So let's see if I can get down there and use the Wing Saber on the Proto-Saber there. My ally here is using an Iron Kong, which was a viewer request. It is the top tier Iron Kong in the game. It is the Iron Kong PKMS, which is Mary's Iron Kong, actually. It is obscenely powerful. It has 4,200 health, and we'll talk more about it when I actually get around to using it. But yeah, I'm using the missiles right here against the Proto-Saber. The Proto-Saber can't really do anything to me. It's too busy being focused on Tita there. It's because of its size, though. I mean, the Proto-Saber is a medium-sized Zoid, but for some reason I can't really get close enough to the ground to use the Wing Saber, though. You do have melee attacks as a flying Zoid, even though it's kind of awkward to control. There's a lot of great opportunities to use flying Zoids in missions where your opponents are not flying to try to get a strategic advantage, but it's just not my play style. I will show off any flying Zoid that anybody wants to see, but for the most part I just wanted to make sure I got the Storm Sorter in there for some good screen time. The story campaign mode, though, is going to have several flying missions, most of which are going to be objective-based with different types of targets to destroy, so we're not just going to be fighting ground Zoids. It's actually going to be a lot better demonstration of the flying Zoids in this. But I figured the Storm Sorter is really cool. It looks awesome with those Gatling units under there, too. Or Vulcan units, rather. So yeah, if anybody wants to see a Let's Play of Zoids Saga or anything like that, then, maybe one day I just need to get my hands on the games and find a way to record DS games and Game Boy Advance games, which is going to be interesting. I may be able to do the Game Boy player, actually, Game Boy Advance player in the Gamecube, and just record it on the Japanese Gamecube I have here. I could always do that. Alright, so that's enough for the Storm Sorter. We're actually going up against our own characters now, Zan and Tita. So I'm going to be swapping over to another new Zoid that I purchased, the Shield Liger Mark II. Some of you guys are probably familiar with the Shield Liger with the large cannons there from the previous game where I got one for that tournament. But this is the Shield Liger Mark II, which is the standard Gallic Republic military Zoid, the white Shield Liger, although it's upgraded to have the cannons on it. So, as far as the model kits go, you have the blue one and you have this one. This is the exact color scheme for the model kit I got. I actually had to change the color of the cannons to blue. I'm sorry, to gold here because they were normally like a gray. And I actually do have a model kit of this shield liger. It's a newer model from the Modeler Spirit series, and it's tiny. It's so tiny and small, and compared to the Kotobukiya blade liger I have, it's kind of pathetic. But it was nice to build. So I really need to address the elephant in the room here and comment on what kind of Zoid we're actually fighting. In addition to Tita's, what do you call it, Terra Striker there, which is a top tier Terrace. We're also fighting a new type of Zoid, first seen in the Zoids Saga series, called the Garayuki, I believe is what it's called, or the Garayuki. It is a dinosaur type Zoid, very similar in design to the Genosaur, except a little more streamlined. It's really cool looking, and I'm grinding right now to try to buy the thing. So I have no idea how it actually performs in game, but it's really expensive, so I assume it's a powerful top tier Zoid. And I just took it out effortlessly. It's only seen in Zoids Fusers, so it's a Fuser Zoid. It has like a additional little mini Zoid that has like 3 different modes, so it can actually change modes in the anime and in the model kit, but I don't think it can do that in the game unless there's another version of it that is yet to be unlocked, so we'll see how that goes when I actually get around to playing around with it.
You are a winner!
Alright, moving on to the third battle. This time we're up against Max and Claudia and their respective Iron Kong and the Liger Zero X. So this is going to be a tough fight. I'm actually going to change Zoids here again. I'm actually going to demonstrate the Iron Kong PKMS now. And like I said, it has 4,200 health. It has ridiculous stats. This thing was almost 200,000 battle points as well. And look how massive it is. Jeez. But yeah, the Liger Zero X is serious business, so as I demonstrated in the previous game. So we definitely want to stay away from that if we can and take it out as fast as possible. Our partner now has the Shield Liger. I didn't really care about what my partner has for this fight because obviously I have the biggest Zoid around. The first weapon we have here is a Weapon Pack C. That's what, if you look, it has 2 missiles that rotate, and they fire off and then rotate, so then it fires off the other 2 on the other side. And I can actually get some quick damage in on the Liger Zero X from afar here, as well as the other stock Iron Kong we're fighting. That's one of the weapons that the PK has, as well as the beam launcher, as seen on the beam launcher is primarily an Imperial weapon. It's seen on the Dark Horn as well. I equipped it on my Red Horn before the end of the last tournament. So we have a lot more weapons than that other Iron Kong, and one of the staple weapons of the Iron Kong is like a wrist blaster I'll be demonstrating soon. But the Iron Kong is an absolutely vicious melee attack, but being that it's somewhat, you know, bipedal, it's an ape form, it's not a typical quadruped, it behaves a lot differently than the other Zoids, and it's kind of finicky to maneuver. So I still really don't care for it, especially because they're big targets, they're not particularly fast, and I'm just not... I cannot be heavily dependent on melee. Melee is very a situational type of thing in this game, so I really can't recommend the use of an Iron Kong, but definitely having one with so much health on my partner slot will allow me to get the max amount of points for grinding for all of the really expensive, like 200,000 credit Zoids for this game. So if I grind using... See, look at that wrist blaster is just amazing. It fires so fast and deals so much damage. It has, like, no cooldown. It just fires rapidly over and over and over again. But yeah, the weapon rack on the back here is definitely something that was a major threat when we were fighting these guys in the New Century Zero tournament. It's that missile that kept hitting me when I had the Shadow Fox, and it's very difficult to dodge. Yeah, that stock Iron Kong just doesn't have anything close to what we have, though. Didn't get a lot of points for that one because my partner's life was pretty low, and I don't think we managed to deliver the final blow on one of the 2 Zoids, or the game somehow didn't register it. I don't know. Alright, now moving on to Battle 4. This time we're up against Shoma and Albane and the... I'm not even kidding with this. The Liger Zero Phoenix and the Gojless Giga, 2 of the toughest Zoids in the entire game. This should be a tough fight. I am not taking any chances with this. I am swapping back over to the Koenig Wolf, giving the Iron Kong back to my partner. I am not taking any risks with this. This is a very tough fight. If you guys remember the finale of the Battle Legends Let's Play, I quoted the Liger Zero Phoenix as the best Zoid in the entire game. And I still pretty much stand by that as far as Battle Legends is concerned, although that's still up for debate in this game because I haven't unlocked all of the good Zoids yet. So we'll see how that holds up. I may still rest my case on that, and you guys will be the first to know. This one is blue, too, which makes it look really cool. Now, unfortunately, the people that developed the maps for this game decided that this was a good decision to have this stupid hallway map. I fundamentally disagree, and the reason being is that the AI is completely crippled in this map. They have no idea what to do, they just run into walls, and they make this, what was supposed to be an incredibly difficult fight against two of the toughest Zoids in the game, laughably easy, because the AI just does not know what to do in this stupid hallway. There's also certain projectiles like missiles that don't even have enough room to reach their target because they simply hit the ceiling because the ceiling is too low. So yeah, this was a terrible map to have this fight on. Same thing with the Blade Liger fight in New Century Zero, and the actually I think the Blade Liger fight in Chaotic Century as well. This map is just terrible. This map is in every tournament mode, and it needs to stop because this fight is essentially crippled as a result. The Gojul's Giga and the Iron Kong PK are actually pretty evenly matched. I'm quite surprised at how much they're duking it out. My partner's actually useful this time around, imagine that. It's really the Liger Zero Phoenix I'm really worried about. I actually had a much better fight during my test run where the Liger Zero Phoenix got right up in my face and did some serious damage. And I actually finished it off with a melee attack. I don't know if we'll be able to replicate that here and now, but yeah, the Liger Zero Phoenix, it has the speed and the maneuverability of the standard Liger Zero, which has always been phenomenal, but it also has some great weapons. The Phoenix Ray also has great homing. It can hit you from across the map, essentially. And it's just really a force to be reckoned with, so we're going to go ahead and take him out, though. He's unfortunately ran out of time to correct himself, so that's it for him. We'll be getting that Zoid eventually and wrecking house with it. Gojul's Giga, on the other hand, I demonstrated it in the previous game. I really don't want to spend that much money on it again this time around because there are other better Zoids that have the Eagle Cannons, so that's whatever you guys want to see, really.
You wanna